All right, the Brewers take on the Buccos, 6:35 Eastern first pitch on Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. Now, Milwaukee's the $1.70 favorite, total 7.5 runs. And following yesterday's sports wagering action, I'm 5-0 in my last 5 Major League Baseball tier package bets on Pt.2. And if you want to access today's Major League Baseball tier package bet, the link for that play is in the description section below. $1,000 bettors are up over $4,500 during that stretch alone. And the difference between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website is this. Here on YouTube, I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on BrockPage.com is I'll actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And just remember, guys, I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. And if you sign up for a package here today, you're going to get access to that membership every single day, all the way through the end of April. Now, guys, Aaron Ashby's the expected starter for Milwaukee. Bryce Wilson on the mound here for the Pirates. And despite being a pretty heavy dog in this one, the Pirates got the W in 3 out of their last 5 ball games, and they have a winning record so far at PNC Park. Now, as a matter of fact, the Pirates have cashed in on the run line in 5 out of their last 7 home games, and they're actually in the top 10 in the majors right now in home hits per game. Now, Dan Vogelbach, he's batting .320 at the plate with 3 home runs and 10 runs scored. Meanwhile, Ke'Bryan Hayes is batting .364 with 6 doubles and 8 walks. Seems like he's always on base. The Pirates are taking on Aaron Ashby for the Brewers, who's actually had some control issues. The lefty's walked 8 batters already, and he comes into today's ball game with a 1.76 whip. And when it comes to cashing in on the run line, the Brewers have covered in just 40% of their road games. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee did see 6 out of their last 10 away games get over the line. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh saw 5 out of their last 7 in the Steel City get over the posted total themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the underdog Pittsburgh Pirates plus 1.5, keeping this one close, in the over 7.5 runs. Next ball game, Padres Reds, 6:40 Eastern start time. San Diego's minus 165, totals 8.5. Mackenzie Gore for the Pods, Vlad Gutierrez for Cincinnati. Now, Vladdy's off to a pretty bad start here. He's 0-3 with a 5.54 ERA and a 1.69 whip. Meanwhile, offensively, these guys have really, lacked run support for their starting pitchers. The Cincinnati lineup's in the bottom 10 in the majors right now in home scoring. They're taking on a San Diego pitching staff who does a real nice job keeping runners off the bases themselves. They're actually in the top 3 in the majors in fewest hits allowed. And they've struck out an awful lot of batters on the road this year as well. Now, starting pitcher Mackenzie Gore, he's got 10 of those strikeouts, along with a 1.74 ERA and a 1.06 whip. When it comes to the total in this one, 5 out of San Diego's last 8 road games fell under the posted number. They're also 67% to the under for the entire season at any location. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, on the other side of things, they averaged just 3.2 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with San Diego. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Padres minus 165 and the under 8.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Mariners taking on the Rays, 6:40 p.m. East. Tampa Bay's minus 135, total 7.5. Drew Rasmussen for Tampa Bay. Marco Gonzalez for Seattle. Now, Marco has got himself a good amount of strikeouts thus far in the year. 13 Ks in just over 13 innings pitched. Now, the lefty also comes into today's ball game with an ERA of 3.29. Meanwhile, offensively, the Mariners have done a real nice job of putting runners across the plate. They're averaging nearly 5.5 runs a game, and they're actually in the top 5 in the bigs in OPS. Ty Francis hit 5 home runs and has an OPS of 1.075. Meanwhile, J.P. Crawford has 33 total bases, along with an OPS of 1.025. Now they're taking on a Tampa Bay pitching staff who allows just way too many runs at the drop. As a matter of fact, the Rays are amongst the worst in the American League right now in runs allowed per game at home. Drew Rasmussen also comes into today's ball game with no wins on the year and a 5.25 ERA. Now, total-wise, 6 out of Tampa's last 10 meetings with Seattle did get over the posted number. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. As a matter of fact, the Rays allowed just about 6 runs a game in those head-to-head contests I just mentioned. Meanwhile, 4 out of Seattle's last 5 outings got over the total of 7.5 runs themselves. I'm going to lean towards Seattle plus $1.15 in the over 7.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Rockies taking on the Phillies. 6:45 Eastern first pitch. Philadelphia is the $2.10 favorite, totals 8 runs. Ranger Suarez for the Titans, Ryan Feltner for Colorado. Now, Feltner makes his debut here today. He was with AAA Albuquerque to start the season. Now, the Rockies have lost 2 straight to Philadelphia in this very series. And they allowed 18 total runs in the process, so maybe Feltner can give these guys a boost. Because when it comes to giving up runs, Colorado's allowing nearly 5.5 runs per contest this year. And they actually rank dead last in the league in hits allowed per contest. They're taking on a Phillies lineup who does like to hit the baseball a little bit themselves. They're actually in the top 5 in the majors in team batting average. And they're led by Nick Castellanos, who's batting .313 with 3 home runs and 10 RBI. Meanwhile, Bryce Harper's hit 3 home runs himself, and he's also knocked in 13. When it comes to the number in this one, 6 out of Philly's last 10 meetings with Colorado got over the line. Meanwhile, the Rockies saw 4 out of their last 7 road games get over the posted total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia minus 1.5 in the over 8 runs. Next ball game, O's, Yanks, 7:05 Eastern start time. New York's minus 260 with the total at 8. Jordan Montgomery for New York, Tyler Wells for Baltimore. Now, Wells isn't off to a very good start. 0-2 record and a 6.75 ERA for Baltimore. Now, the righty also comes into today's ball game with a whip above 1.85. Now, offensively, on the other side of things, no lineup in the majors strike out more per game than Baltimore. They're fanning nearly 11 times a game at the plate, and they're also dead last in the majors in home runs per 9. They're taking on a Yankee pitching staff who strikes out a lot of batters themselves. They're in the top 5 in strikeouts, top 5 in fewest runs allowed per game. Jordan Montgomery comes into today's contest with a 2.51 ERA and a 1.05 whip. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, Baltimore's last 3 straight got over the posted number. Meanwhile, the Bombers on the other side, they went 4-2 to the over in their last 6 themselves. I'm going to lean toward New York minus 1.5 in the over 8 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Marlins taking on the Nationals, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Miami's minus $1.40, total 7.5. Pablo Lopez for Miami, Eric Fedde for Washington. Now, Fedde's off to an undesirable start. It's a 6.75 ERA and a 1.65 whip. The Nats are currently on a 6-game losing streak, and they posted a record of just 2-8 straight up in their last 10. And aside from having one of the worst pitching staffs in the National League, this Washington lineup scoring only 3.4 runs a game, and they also rank in the bottom 3 in the majors in home runs. They're taking on a Miami pitching staff who's done a real nice job keeping runners off the bases. They're actually in the top 5 in fewest hits allowed on the road. And they've also got Pablo Lopez on the bump here today, who's 2-0 with a .52 ERA. Now, Lopez also struck out 17 batters this year and has a whip of just .75. When it comes to the scoring in this one, 6 out of Miami's last 10 meetings with Washington did actually get over the posted number. So I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Miami minus 140 in the over 7.5. Next contest, Red Sox, Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern first pitch. Now Toronto's the $1.40 favorite in this one, totals 9 runs. Ross Stripling for Toronto, Michael Wacha for Boston. And this game's being featured as my extra daily bet on Pt.2 here today. So if you want to see whether I'm betting on a side or the total in this one, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my extra daily bet on Pt.2. And the link for that play is in the description section below, guys. It's only going to cost you just $2.99. Next contest, it is going to be Cubs taking on the Braves, 7:20 Eastern start time. Atlanta's the $2 favorite, totals 8.5. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, Mark Leiter Jr. for Chicago. And even though Leiter's off to a bit of a rough start, he still recorded 7 strikeouts in just over 7 innings. And I'll tell you this much, even if Leiter has yet another rough start, he's really not out of the woodwork because this Chicago lineup can keep any pitcher in the game. These guys have been great at the plate. They're currently leading the majors right now in batting average and OPS. Seiya Suzuki's hit 4 home runs and knocked in 13. Meanwhile, Ian Happ's batting .333 with a couple of homers and double-digit RBI. They're taking on an Atlanta pitching staff who allows just way too many runs at Truist Park. And they're actually amongst the worst in the bigs right now in runs allowed per game at home. And of course, Charlie Morton, he comes into the ballgame here today with a 1-2 record and a 6.32 ERA. Now, total-wise, Atlanta's 7-4 to the over in their last 11 at home. They've also gone 60% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Chicago. I'm going to lean toward the Cubs plus 1.5, keeping this one close. In the over, 8.5 runs. Next contest, Tigers, Twins, 7:40 East. Minnesota's minus 185 with the total at 7. Joe Ryan for the Twins, Michael Pineda for Detroit. Now, Pineda's officially 1-0 on the season with a .60 whip. Now, he's also yet to allow an earned run in 5 innings of work. So, small sample size, but still, given that factor, he's still doing a really good job. Now, this Detroit pitching staff's also done a real nice job keeping the ball down in the zone. They're currently in the top 10 in fewest homers allowed per game. And they're leading the majors right now. They're leading the entire league in fewest runs allowed per game on the road. Now, they're taking on a Minnesota club who's cashing in on the run line in just 35% of their ball games for the entire year. So if you're looking to get a little bit better price point, you're going to have to lay the 1.5. And these guys are covering in only 35% of their games on that run line. Now, the Twins are also having a tough time hitting the baseball right now. They're striking out nearly 10 times a game at the plate. They currently rank in the bottom 10 in the majors in batting average. Now, total-wise, Minnesota's 11-6 to the under for the entire year. Meanwhile, Detroit's gone 63% to the under for the entire season themselves. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus 1.5 and the under 7. Next contest, it is going to be Astros Rangers, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Houston's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Christian Javier for the Stros, Glenn Otto for Texas. And despite 5 strong innings out of Otto this year, this Rangers pitching staff simply hasn't been good enough this season. They're currently in the bottom 3 in the league in opponents' OPS, and they also allow more home runs per 9 than any other team in the bigs right now. Now, they're taking on a powerful Houston lineup on the other side of things, who's actually amongst the best teams in the American League right now in home runs at the plate. Yordan Alvarez has 4 home runs on the year, 23 total bases for the outfielder. Meanwhile, Bregman, Tucker, and Pena, they all have 3 home runs apiece. Now, when it comes to the pitching in this one, Christian Javier struck out a dozen batters this year and has a whip of just .72. The righty's also yet to allow an earned run on the season. When it comes to the total in this one, the Astros are averaging nearly 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Texas. Needless to say, 6 out of those 10 ball games I just mentioned got over the line. Meanwhile, the Rangers on the other side of things, they saw 5 out of their last 8 at Globe Life Field get over the posted total themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Houston minus 120 in the over 8.5 runs. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Guardians taking on the Angels, 9:38 Eastern start time. Now, the LA Angels are the heavy $2 favorite with the total at 7.5. Shohei Ohtani for the Angels, Zach Plesac for Cleveland. And if you want to know whether I'm betting the side, run line, or total in this one, this game's being featured as my red-hot Major League Baseball tier package bet on BrockPage.com, where we are currently 5-0 in our last 5 bets in that package. Now, the link for that play is in the description section below right now. And don't forget, guys, if you buy my Major League Baseball tier package bet here today, you're actually going to get access to all the lesser expensive picks on my website absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive into our next and final free pick for the video. It is going to be the Athletics taking on the Giants, 9:45 Eastern start time. Now, San Francisco's minus 165 with the total at 7.5 runs. Sammy Long for the Giants, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. And even though Blackburn's off to a real nice start this year, I do have grave concerns about these Oakland Hitters right now. These guys are striking out just about 10 times a game. They also find themselves in the bottom 3 in the majors in team batting average. Now, they're taking on a Giants team on the other side of things who actually gives up very little runs per contest. As a matter of fact, San Francisco is currently leading the majors right now in fewest runs allowed per game. Now, they're also leading the Bigs in fewest home runs allowed as well. Sammy Long comes into today's ball game here with a .71 whip and 0 earned runs allowed. Now, when it comes to the number, 2 out of Oakland's last 3 fell under the posted total. Meanwhile, San Francisco's 11-7 to the under for the entire season themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the underdog. I'm sorry, we're not leaning toward the underdog here. We are leaning toward San Francisco, minus 1.5, and the under 7.5 runs in the tight window. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at BrockPage.com, where once again, we are 5-0 in our last 5 Major League Baseball tier package bets. I like Pittsburgh plus 1.5 over 7.5 runs. San Diego minus 165 under 8.5. Give me Seattle plus $1.15 over 7.5 runs. I also like the Phillies minus 1.5 and the over 8. Give me the New York Yankees minus 1.5 over 8 runs. Miami Marlins minus $1.40 over 7.5. Now, guys, I have no free pick in the Boston-Toronto game. That contest is actually being featured as my $2.99 bet on BrockPage.com. I also like the Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 over 8.5. Give me Detroit plus 1.5 under 7 runs. I also like Houston minus $1.20 over 8.5. Now, I also have no free pick for you in the Guardians-Angels game. That contest is being featured as my red-hot Major League Baseball tier package bet on BrockPage.com. And then, guys, with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean towards San Francisco minus 1.5 and the under 7.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on BrockPage.com, you're going to get access to that membership every single day all the way through the end of April. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. So if you're on the fence, maybe you're thinking about, signing up, maybe you want to hold off until May 1st and get better value. It's completely up to you. But speaking of better value, Guys, just keep in mind, if you sign up for a membership here today on my website, all the lesser expensive memberships are absolutely free. So if you end up getting the Major League Baseball tier today, all the cheaper memberships are included with your purchase. Now, guys, if you want to get access to every single bet that I give out on that website, you're going to want to sign up for my board member tier package. Board members get access to every single membership on that website every single day, all the way through the end of April. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at Pt.2.